Okay, we're all good. Right. Hello, everyone. Excited for this. So this is the first saucy stream. That is looking very awkward there. So what are we doing today, Ben? Do you want to remind everyone?
What are we doing today? So we're gonna explore how we if we can take SecretSauce and reproduce a brand. Like, can we match an existing brand, and how well? So that's what we're gonna do. Do you want to add anything before I pull up the website and just start showcasing?
Yeah. Let's just talk very quickly. So, what is SecretSauce and why are we doing this?
What is SecretSauce and why we're doing this?
Yeah.
SecretSauce is like it's like a creative agency in your pocket. So if you have a brand, it doesn't matter if your brand is completely fully designed or not, and you need to make content for a lot of different channels, a lot of different platforms. Then SecretSauce is exactly what you need. If you want to also take an existing, you've done some work on your brand, but you still want to do some work and you want to develop it furthermore, like that's also the tool that would do that for you. So it supports statics. We're about to implement like very, very cool video formats. And you can use it for social, ads, AI, user-generated content, and all sorts of formats. Anything else you think we should
add? No, I guess we'll just quickly introduce ourselves. We didn't do that. So I'm Simon. I'm the CEO and co-founder at We Are Mighty, and we make SecretSauce. And Ben, who are you?
I'm the Chief AI Officer here, so I'm in charge of the product in general, and I'm very, very close to obviously what we're doing with AI, both within the studio for productivity and efficiency purpose, and then for the product that we're building right now, SecretSauce.
And how do we create a great campaign?
You
just create a great
press rate. You just type it.
You just create a great campaign.
That's what
I think we're having a little bit of a snafu with the YouTube version, but in the meantime, let's bring up the site for
let's have a look at the brand.
Liquid Death, and just take a look at the brand, and we can start talking about it.
Okay, let me share my screen. Let me share the right part of my screen. All right, go back. Right, so Liquid Death is pretty special. I mean, we picked the brand. There are a few reasons why we picked the brand, but one of them is that it's a very strong branding. It's very detailed. Like, look at the logo, look at the cans. It also has like a very distinct kind of humor and brand and tone as well that kind of has to be, it's not that easy to replicate. Like, if you look at their
big
Instagram,
fan.
Come again?
I'm a big fan. I love what they're doing. I saw an interview, I think, with the CEO, and I think he did marketing for the X Games or something like that. And he saw these guys smashing these Red Bulls and other stuff, and they wanted something that was kind of, you could look cool while drinking water. So they applied some of that aura.
Actually, it took me a while before I really knew what the brand was. I was seeing the can and I was seeing the brand itself, and I always thought it was beer or some kind of alcoholic drink. And at some point, I realized it's actually water. It's pretty cool, because I was always seeing like in concerts and live music kind of environments. That's pretty cool. So let's see. Shall we get started? Do you think we have to wait a little bit? Just make sure that
I think let's just go. I guess the question today is: can AI actually learn a brand that's this specific from just what's publicly available? So let's find out.
Let's find out. So I'm going to take the usual kind of way we kickstarted the brand inside of SecretSauce, like the simplest way, which is just opening up the brand drop down and then kickstarting the new brand.
So we've got a new brand going here.
So what it's doing now is like it's loading all the skills and the, kind of everything that it needs to start processing a new brand. And then it's going to probably ask me, if I have a URL. You can drop in like a bunch of different things. Right? You can start with the URL. You can start with a PDF document that has your brand identity. You can just describe stuff by hand. You can also drop in at the same time, image references. It could be your products. It could be something else that you want to use as a reference for whatever purpose, just to explain. Wait a minute. This is not what I was meant to be doing. Just give me a second. I'm going to restart.
It's the curse of the live demo. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Like, obviously, let me just refresh now.
Yeah.
And
then while you're refreshing, why don't you tell me why Liquid Death is so hard to replicate?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we look back at the website, if you look closely, like, you don't necessarily always have a logo in the content that they're doing. Like, you'll have the can, right, which is very specific, but the rest is, it's like colors, and then particularly when you look at the Instagram, actually you got some here. You can see the background here and the treatments, like horror movie-ish, kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the Instagram, it's like it's a mix of things, but
That's the guy in corpse paint.
A good example, but
is that Aussie?
That's where? Here? No. Yeah,
on
here.
The right.
Yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Look, he's wearing my ring.
I think that's the new Toxic Avenger, is it? Yeah, Toxic.
Oh, very cool.
Toxic Avenger. So they've done like some cool. I mean, you see the vibe, right? It's like horror movies, but it's not something that you can describe. That, I mean, you can describe it kind of easily, but you have to see it to feel like, okay, this is Liquid Death. It's not like you would have like very specific, elements, like visual elements that you could pinpoint really easily. So it's hard to replicate that, because you can't just say like, use that color plus that color and then that's it, and then put that's a little hard on that. So I feel like that's a very cool challenge. I'm actually having trouble here, so give me a second. There is an issue with the
curse of the demo.
Yeah. Always unavoidable. Give me a second, Simon. I'm just going to fix this in the background.
Yeah, sure. You fix that in the background. And
I am.
In the meantime, we're going to talk more about Liquid Death. So, have you had one?
Me?
Yeah.
I've had, yes. In the US.
Okay. Yeah, same. I like the mango one. It's a little bit sweet, but it's still very nice. Yeah. And I'm okay with not having alcohol. I don't know about you, but since the pandemic, I drink a lot less.
Working too much for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I need to prioritize sleep. So from that perspective, it's a great brand. Big fan. All right. So we've got the cans here. The cans have the small details as well. The skull. Skull's very intricate. There's also the Gothic font that has to be matched at the top with a what's it called? Word mark. And then you've got like a classic kind of typeface as well. Actually, there's like 3 or 4 fonts there, right? Because you look at the bottom where it says Melody or Thirst, and the measurements, you got like 1, 2, 3, 4 fonts on there. It has to be 3 or 4. I can't quite tell. Plus like the images, and also making sure we get the colors right too. And then there's going to be the background treatment as well, and like all the environments around that too. So like what you see with the scene there. How are you getting on there, Ben? Is this loading in the background?
It's finally getting there. I have no idea what just happened. So
you're doing a live demo. That's what happened.
Of course, the stuff that I've done like 20 times a day. Anyways, you're just gonna be met with something the agent asking you like, hey, what do you want to use to kickstart your what we call the ingestion of your brand identity or your business, and you can mix stuff, right? Like URL, you can upload images, PDFs, whatever. In this case, I'm just putting in the URL. So what's happening in the background, which is not necessarily displayed here, is that it's going to go crawl the website, pull out colors, logo, fonts. Probably going to pull out also like the products themselves, like in the sense of the descriptions. Sometimes it will go a little bit further and pull some images already. Sometimes you're going to have to ask it like, hey, I want to focus on one particular product, so you're just going to upload, and we're probably going to do that. you're going to upload an additional URL for that product, because it just happens some shops have like tons of products. And then, yeah, from there, it's going to start building and ingesting, processing, all of these, and transform that into, well, essentially content that is agent ready, right? Like stuff that the agent itself can read, understand, knows how to use, when to use it, extract. So here, I think it's just going to ask me to confirm the name of the brand. Yeah, I'll set it up as Liquid Death. Does that look right? Yep, that's Liquid Death. So again, like an additional step just to make sure that it understands really well what's going on. There are moments, or I think I just lost Simon. There are moments where, there are moments where the brand, the website of the brand might be, for example, resistant, to crawling. So what you can do is just drop in a screenshot, drop in some text, explain. So there's always ways to essentially give the context that the agent needs. You could even like print out a PDF of the web page, and that would be sufficient to just kickstart the works without any problem. So yeah.
So let's talk a bit about the brief, Ben. So
Yes,
Liquid Death just launched an energy drink line, right? So if I look at my notes, it's Tropical Terror, Scary Strawberry, Orange Horror,
should be this one,
and Mango Chainsaw. Yeah,
it should be this guy. It's part of that. That's that pack here. Yeah. So Scary Strawberry, Tropical Terror, Orange Horror, and then Murder Mystery. Pretty unique designs. They're very specific on their can branding, and we're going to attempt making a campaign for those products. So give me a second. I'm going to go back to the.
And Ben, like the text can be quite small, so don't be afraid to make it full screen and just get rid of me, and I'll just keep talking so that people can see what's going on.
All right. All right. Well, let's see. Do I have a logo? So let's see. So if you have it's asking me specifically, do I have a logo? So this happens often when there may be in the background on the website multiple versions of the logo, and he wants to make sure that I'm using the right one. So you have two ways to do that. You can just download the logo and upload the logo, or you can do even simpler, which is what I often do, which is just let me share the screen. Go into your your screen here, and what I'm doing is just taking a screenshot.
Command Shift 4.
Yeah, and I'm going to drop it in there and say, "This is the logo."
Amazing.
And once it's uploaded, it takes a second. I'm going to send that out. And that's also
for those of you that are a little bit less technical, like if you're on a Mac and you hold Command Shift and press 4, then you can just select with the crosshairs like where you want to take a screenshot from, and you can just paste it straight into SecretSauce.
Very neat.
Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add that generally when you upload a piece of content, so it could be a logo, it could be a picture, whatever it is, maybe even a photo of your product, if you don't have a web shop with the products there, but you do have pictures of it, it will take your product or take your logo and enhance the quality of it kind of like right off the bat. So I just took a screenshot of the logo, not super high res. That's generally sufficient. And if it's ever not the case, you can just ask the agent to improve the quality of it, and it will just remember it and keep using the right. Enhance, exactly.
Just like the movies.
So yeah, it takes, just be clear, it takes a minute because it's a lot to process in the background. It's actually outputting. So here you have a preview of what the brand is about, but it's actually outputting.
Yeah, it's nailed it. Unhinged, irreverent.
Yeah, that's the general
awfully funny, authentic, and rebellious.
Death to plastic. I mean, and what we don't necessarily have here, you have some highlights, of the voice, but what it does is you have like a much, much larger piece of content that describes the actual tone of voice, and it's very easy to use. So let's see what we want to do for this campaign, right? Like, let me think for a second. I think generally for a campaign, in particular for that one, we probably want to have like one hero image, maybe 2 social assets for Instagram, and maybe some ads, that you want to run. Like let's say you have, an Amazon shop or whatever, and then you want to run that with good, good visual content. I'm just going to start with the hero image. I'm just going to ask it to create that. So help me create a hero image for actually tropical terror. I want to make sure. Let me double check. 1 second. I'm going to ask you to do that. Tropical terror, and just to be really sure, I'm going to show you what I usually do in this case, because they have a lot of products. I want to make sure there's no. I'm going to use tropical terror here, and I'm going to send it the actual URL because I just want to make sure that we're getting.
Why don't you just grab a screenshot? What's the reason for sending the URL?
So in this case, it's a good question. I'm using the the URL because I want the agent to go and scrape all of the product details. Let me write that. All of the product details, as well as like maybe there are CTAs, because like some story associated, whatever it is. I want it to be scraped. Sometimes the screenshot will not be able to capture all of that at once, so I'll just send the URL. Let me focus for 1 second so I type in properly. Product card. Oops. Set card for this one, and then we'll do it in order, which is for tropical terror.
Hey Ben, when you're typing, try and make it full screen, because like we've got a couple of comments that is. Sorry, yeah.
I don't have control over that. It is full screen. What I can do though is like maybe push this away a little bit.
No, that's good. Actually, when you're full screen, it's fine. Yeah, you can go back to where you were.
Very nice. Oh, I clicked away.
You're going to go back to your conversation.
Get back into it. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back into that. So this is not something that I shared, but we can actually look at it as we're doing this. It's a multi-tab environment. So, right now I was on my previous thread where I was doing the brand setup, but you also have here the brand codex. So what I mentioned earlier, which is how the brand is being ingested and the document being created in the background and all the, this is what's happening here. Like you have a lot more details on the audience, a secondary audience in this case as well, positioning, verbal identity. So it's very headlines are all caps. It's really just learning really, really well how the brand is supposed to be treated. And you have keywords to be used. You have banned words as well. Hydrating, refreshing. They're not going to use that. And then again, it just goes into a lot of detail. And guardrails, of course, do's and don'ts. And similarly, whenever you create a new asset or you add, for example, a logo, a product, or whatever, it will create cards for that. And for the logo itself, it's the same thing. So you have the logo here. It will explain what the logo is about. That's a full analysis of the logo. And then how to use it, when to use it. If you have multiple versions of your logo, it's the same thing. It's going to remember, we have a version for bright background, dark backgrounds, and how to use these logos in what context. So it's still working. Here, maybe something to highlight. If you're using SecretSauce, you'll have multiple modes. And I'm using the YOLO mode, which is the mode where you're essentially asking to just move forward, ask no questions, do everything you need to do without asking me. If you are not using the YOLO mode, it's probably going to ask you, hey, are you sure you want me to create that card? Or are you sure you want me to remember this? And in this case, I'm generally pretty confident with what the agent is doing, so I might just go. For people who are starting maybe with the agent and learning a little bit how it works, you might want to move to the vibe mode, which is still pretty automated, but it will ask you along the way, are you sure you want me to do this, or do you want something different? So you're you're going to learn how it works. But again, as you build more content, you provide more context to what the brand is, what the business is, and everything. You can just go to YOLO mode at some point because it has so much context and it knows so much about your brand, even you, how you talk about it and everything. So it'll just go on and create the content that you want. So we'll give it a minute. I asked multiple things at the same time, so this is going to take some time.
Do you have... Go on, yeah. Go ahead.
No, ask me. What is it?
I was going to say, while it's loading, do you have examples of other things that you've generated that you want to share?
I have, but I fear that right now...
You're going to break it on
maybe after we've generated some stuff, because I would have to change teams and everything.
That's
Like
dangerous.
I'm working in a clean environment right now. So if I want to see like everything that everyone is doing, I would have to switch to the other environment. I don't want to risk.
Sorry, you were saying there was two things. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's been doing multiple stuff. So at the same time, what it's done, and you can see it now. It's created. So first, it's pulled everything that it could for that particular drink, the Tropical Terror, and created. So not just pulled, but also created a card asset for it, so that then in the future we can recall that product. And then I ask it to generate a piece of like, a hero image, right, for that drink. And it's done.
Do you want to make this full screen so everyone can see as well?
Okay, sorry, I'm struggling with Zoom. Yeah, okay. And it's done pretty well. I mean, like this is a mid-resolution output because we don't want things to take too much time when we're doing this as well.
Yeah, it's nailed the fonts.
Kind of like the horror vibe and the tropical vibe is there. It's a dark forest, so it made a bunch of decisions like, thick light, foggy, like thingy. So, a bit threatening, a bit. It's cool. The details are all preserved. Everything's on brand. And if you want to upscale that, like upscaling meaning you want it to be higher resolution, you can just ask the agent, make it higher quality or upscale, and it will do that for you. But before we do that,
sorry, Ben, but do you want to just A/B, like show maybe side by side what that looks like with the original can, so that because not everyone's got full
yeah, of
screen
course.
memory.
Let me do that. Do we have? No, I don't have it here. Let me. How am I going to do side by side? Because this
That's
is
fine. I mean, you can just reference them one and then the other. So this is the original can.
This is the original can. I mean, it picked probably multiple of them, but it's definitely used that one. So that's the original can, and I can showcase the version that has been generated here, which is this one. So it's pretty good.
Nailed.
Pretty close. It's 1-to-1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you like maybe create some Instagram content. Let's create maybe like 2 social assets for Instagram for tropical terror. So you'll notice that I don't really need to tag anything. It's all natural language. Let me fix that. And I'm like, I don't need to explain what is the format exactly. If I say Instagram, it's going to go and look for the exact kind of requirements around the format that is usually used for Instagram. And then similarly, Tropical Terror, it knows where to go to find Tropical Terror, the asset card that was created for that product. And so it's going to load exactly what it needs to produce the content that we're hopefully going to get in a minute. And that will be 100% right. So you see, like, it's reading the files here. So we're having fun with the kind of the narrative around like SecretSauce right now. But what it's doing is it's actually reading a file and looking for the content, assembling the context, and then outputting some. What are we doing here? Let's see. It's going to ask me. Okay, so it's going to ask me some ideas like, do I like that or not? Okay, cool. I mean,
generating because you're in YOLO mode.
Yeah, if I'm in YOLO mode, it's just going to go and generate stuff.
Yeah, you only YOLO once, right?
Exactly, you only YOLO once.
Actually, I was going to say, like, do you think this looks like AI slop, or does this look like the original product?
I wonder, what do you think?
I think it looks like the original product. I wouldn't know this was AI. But
I don't think you can
that.
tell. No, I don't
think you can tell. I'm very sus when people say, "Oh, I can always tell." It's like, "Oh, you're just looking at bad AI."
Yeah, and especially if you upscale it, like right now it's still like 2K, and then you upscale to 4K, like you're not going to see like all the details are here. Everything is just crystal clear. I don't think there's it's harder and harder. I feel to see the difference when the content is really well put together, and then you have the right guidance, and essentially when you use SecretSauce, right, like that's going to be just harder to tell the difference.
Is there a reason we picked this specific one pen, like this specific can versus the others? Torben in the chat says that's scary good, which I hope was a pun, but in any case, it's great.
It is scary.
But why did you pick this specific can over the others?
That was not like specifically that can. That was more. I mean, for me, it's more like the brand and the details that exist on the can, and I think that's the part that is just really hard to replicate most of the time with AI. And so I could have picked, any of the other cans. There was no particular preference here or anything.
Okay. So we look at some of the assets that have just been created.
It's coming up. All right. So what do we have? Okay, some foresty. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's cool. Even got nice little cute hand tattoos that matches.
Well, a reminder that this is an energy drink, right? So it's kind of
I feel energized.
Yeah, breaking the lava rocks, and I don't know. It's like
just smashing out the ground, punching lava. You got that nice little skull tattoo.
And there is something really fun, by the way. Like for those who are interested, you can find, how the model, how SecretSauce have been thinking about how to build this image.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. Establishing key details, how it's thinking about like volcanic rocks being added because energy and all that stuff. It's really, really fun. And then we have the second one, death to drowsy.
Death to drowsy.
Tagline. Yeah, that's their tagline. And then in this
I got
case,
the tagline without you even telling it, right? You said just create an Instagram asset.
It knows that it's a tagline, yeah. And it's using the key kind of visual elements that we'll find with liquid death. In this case, you'll have a lot of like concrete, particularly for tropical death, you have like smoky elements, and you find them at the time, which is working really well. Like you can see like the cracked and dry kind of, I don't know, like soil at the top.
Yeah.
Thirsty. And yeah, so let's see. We were saying like we need a hero image, which is the first one. We needed like two assets for Instagram, which are these two guys here. I'm not iterating on it, by the way, but you can ask whatever changes you want, and we'll just execute on that. But what I want to maybe showcase here is how you could take an existing image and kind of like take a reference of it. So I'll give an example here, and I'll upload that. So there was this one here for essentially just like creating ad variation. I'm going to upload it here. Let me see if I can actually display that image inside of. Yeah, I should be able to do that. So I'm going to share that.
Click it, right? Yeah.
No, it's like, yeah, I'm sharing my tabs, but you can see it, right? Can you?
Yeah, we see it. Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right, so that's the reference I want to take. I'm like, okay, I want like a zoomed in version of the product, and let me get back in here. And I'm going to ask like, can you, so I just uploaded it, right? Help me, do this, but with tropical terror. So you'll notice I'm still using the same product because that's the one that we ingested and I know we have all the details about. But separately, I could just go aside and be like, hey, can you just ingest 10 of the products, on the shop, or maybe all of them if you really want to do that, and just let it work. I like go do something else, or maybe you can work in another tab and you just like pull everything.
So if you have a web shop, say you have your own business and you have a bunch of products, you can just point this at your website and then it will go and it will learn all your products, and then you're good. You can just start creating campaigns of anything you want. So say you have a butter company, like our friends at Borderless Butter. You say, I got Chinese New Year coming, build me a Chinese New Year campaign using these products. It will just go and do it. And that's really like the magic of SecretSauce, right? You save so much time and effort having to do this stuff because it just understands the brand and it just works. And so you get your life back to focus on other areas of the business.
Exactly. And then getting kick-started with it is it's literally a few minutes, if it's not even seconds. You just paste in your URL. If your website has most of your products and your branding, because sometimes your website has a slightly different branding than what you want to use, but let's say that it's generally there, there is almost nothing that you need to get done in order to output like just very quickly very good content. So highly effective. And as Simon was saying, one of the idea behind SecretSauce is that you guide an agent around what you want to achieve for your branded content. You don't need a full team for that. You can do it on your own. You don't need to be creative yourself. You don't need to be technical as well. All you need is some existing content. It could even be references, and then you just let it work, right? You just tell it what you want, how you want it done, and then you can focus on, well, the things that maybe matter to like your product and your services, whatever it is. So yeah, we got it. Perfect.
If I'm going to be, wow, it looks amazing. Maybe you want to go full screen on this as well, but I was going to say, if I'm going to play devil's avocado, I would say that being technical and actually understanding how like composition works and image editing software works does help, because it means that you can get the results you need faster because you're going to have clearer guidance.
That is true. That is true.
And so like if you're a creative, you will definitely get much better results and faster. But
yeah,
I would say the thing that works for creatives is they get to spend more time thinking about the campaign and coming up with novel ideas and testing 10, 20 different formats versus like, messing about pixel by pixel.
Exactly. I mean, to add to what you're saying, Simon, you can decide whatever level, like you can decide where you want to apply the automations and at what level you want to apply them. Like you can absolutely craft your entire brand by hand and decide that you just want to make the collaterals.
Oh, Ben is gone. He decided to rage quit. Oh, here we are. Let me just add him back in. What did you do, Ben? Did you get too excited? Let's see where he is. Ben, here you are. I'm going to turn you on. There you are.
Okay, I'm back. You're going to have to switch yourself with the... Okay, cool. Yeah, I was saying you can definitely pick the amount of automation and where do you want to use the tool for what. So you can, as I said, you can craft your entire brand by hand, and then you can decide that you want to use AI and automation just for like collaterals based on your original content. It's really entirely up to you. Or you can start from zero, from scratch, and generate everything. Let me try something else, because we were talking earlier about making ads. So specifically, I'm going to share what I mean by that. That's an example from them. They have this particular product available.
I love the copy.
Yeah. Yes. They have a very particular tone of voice. It's really cool. And so this is a product available on Amazon. And I just want to say, like, okay, I want to replicate this ad here. I just want to have the same format, but use it for my other product. Let me see. I'm going to ingest. So in this case, I'm going to do something as well. I want to have more products. So I'm going to ingest the other. Give me a second. I'm going to ingest the pack, because they have a pack as well. So let me share my screen. Let's use the pack that is here. So as you can see, I'm just like navigating my website, just like selecting what I want to, copying the URL, and I'm going to say like create product asset card for this product. And then I will ask it to do essentially an adaptation of the ad that I just showcased a minute ago. So we'll give it a minute. And yeah, so you can choose exactly the level of automation you want to use, how much of the AI modification you want to apply as well, because you can tell it just, hey, use my exact original image and content, just adapt the format. So it's not going to touch the original image. It's just going to crop into it, extend if needed, whatever. It's just going to adapt it to the new format. And the other route, which is the extreme opposite, is to start from nothing and say, here are some references, here are some things that I like and I feel represent my brand. Go on and create a brand identity. And what the agent is going to do is it's just going to pitch you, right? It's going to tell you like something like this or more something like that. And you have multiple ways to react to that. You can just type in writing, or you can upload more pictures, more references. whatever you want to do. And you can start from even your product, right? You have your product, you don't have a branding, you can do that as well. All it takes is, jumping in and start talking to it. That's the key of the whole thing is you need to tell it what you want. And generally what happens is that in the early phases, when you're starting to teach your brand essentially to the agent, you'll need maybe like 10 words to achieve something. And as the context around your product and around what you want, as well as an operator, as a founder or maybe a brand owner, is getting clear, you just need a few words. Like at the end, you're just like, hey, make me an ad for tropical syrup. Like you'll say that, and you will remember everything that you particularly want around that campaign for that particular product, the formats that you want to use, the stuff that you like or don't like. It's very smart like that. Yeah. So let's see. It's still pulling the images, and I think it's just created the file. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to ask it to do let's just replicate the ad. So you can be as specific or as loose as you like when replicating the ad, but I'm just going to do that. So the product I want to use is, you can see it here. I can add the product, or I can just write the name like Sparkling Energy 4, but I'm lazy, so I'm just going to add. This is a long name, whatever. Okay, so use that. Use and use the replicator. Wait a minute. Or maybe, I'd say that.
What's going on, Ben?
I'm thinking about the better way to prompt here.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just gonna do this with the skills. It's not this. Oh, okay. So this is not. All right. Let me. There are like so many ways to do this.
Yeah. Most people don't know about the skill ID. Actually, we should talk about that another day.
Yeah. Attached.
Do you need to say attached?
Sorry.
Okay. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Amazon Shop. My Amazon Shop. It's mine. Using, and I'm gonna ask for. I want to have this time. I just want to use the logo. So I'm gonna ask you to with this logo, because by default,
nice.
I mean you'll notice a lot of their content does not feature the logo because you have the can, and you don't really need the logo. But I'm just gonna ask you. Let's just go with the logo.
And so, just because you're going quite fast, so did SecretSauce learn the logo on its own, or did you explain that?
No, it learned it on its own. I just the only thing that it asked me is to confirm which one was the right logo, and rather than being like pinpointing whatever, I just pasted a screenshot of the logo and said like, you just use that. That's the logo, and I don't really need to explain more, right?
I was going to say, if you just type the @ symbol, do you get a list of the assets that are there or not?
Correct. Yes. If you use the @ symbol, you will see like your products. You will see the brand itself, because sometimes you just want to mention the brand because, I don't know, maybe you want to update something specific. You will have your logo as well. So all of essentially the asset cards that exist inside of your brand codex here, that's going to be there and readily available. And maybe, I mean, since we're generating, so we have a second to discuss. Earlier, you saw me like popping out this skills list. And let's see. Okay, the skills list is here. So skills is a way to apply a flow or a workflow with like very specific kind of maybe sub-flows as well, to just replicate something that you've done before. Or you can also just create a flow yourself. You can create a skill yourself. So if you spend time explaining to the agent, I want to do this like this, and then like there's a sequence of things that you want to do and present them a very specific way, you can ask the agent at the end of the conversation, once you have a nice kind of like reference image that you generate, and say like, make a skill out of this. I want to be able to reproduce this kind of content whenever. And it's going to ask you a few questions like, oh, do you want to lock the position of the object? Do you want to lock the ambience? Like, what is it that matters? And then you can just explain a little bit, and it will build the skill. And then next time, you don't need to have like so many steps and explain everything. You can just call the skill. and it will just execute on whatever additional input you put, like maybe an image, a product, whatever it is. So it's very useful. Nice. Yeah, very powerful. So what is it doing? I need the scary strawberry can. Sorry?
Sorry, no. I was saying, what is this? What's going on?
What is this? What?
Yeah. No, what's going on? Where are we?
What is this? So it's asking for scary strawberry and tropical terror. That's the pick, because I didn't specify. I was just like, use that. And it knows that in the original image, you have 2 cans. So it's going to be looking for 2 products. That's the one that it picked. I suppose it picked tropical terror because we've been working with tropical terror for a while before that. And then it's trying to, I'm pretty sure that it's going to just replicate the 2 cans angled inward, bold headline top, 0 gram sugar badge, available on Amazon, firing it.
Firing it.
What's happening a lot, like, well, that's something that we want to implement. I want to surface a lot more of what the agent is doing in the background, because it's just, well, first it's interesting, and then we understand better how it's making decisions and what it's working on. As I mentioned, like here you can see a good part of that.
Yeah, like I feel like we should be sharing that in real time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that. The idea is that we would stream that to the user so they understand. Oh, this is like it's building context, or oh, it's doing a web search for additional, like maybe enrichment, of your request and all that stuff. And then at some point, like putting things together and generating. Oftentimes, the actual image generation is not as long as just the reasoning part. Like we spend a lot of time reasoning around what is the brand, what does the user want, like all this stuff. And that's also the reason we can one-shot pretty much every single image that you have here. I mean, I'm going to jinx it. I'm saying we can one-shot everything, and the last one will be all screwed up. But yeah, the reason the content here is so good and so on brand and points generally, like it just spends a lot of time thinking, like a lot.
So my question to you is, like, why do you spend so much time thinking? Why is it so important to think instead of, like, Mark Andreessen is not big on introspection, so why are we? So niche reference for those of you who've been following the news.
I think as always, for anyone who's familiar with AI tools, and actually to be frank, it's not just AI, it's like pretty much anyone. When you work with someone else, the more context you give them, the more instructions, the more details you can provide around like what you're thinking, what you're trying to achieve, what matters to you, what matters to your brand, or like the better the decision making can be on their side. So you kind of like arm them with like the best possible context. And it's exactly the same with an agent, right? An agent has tools, but it doesn't always know what to do. So the time that you were asking, like, what is it doing? It's like it's actually thinking about everything that I shared with it, because it doesn't forget. That's the beauty of it. Like I can share like so much, and it won't forget any of it. And so it's like just going through everything. Like, oh, okay, so we want to do this, particular ad. Like I'm going to look for the skill that helps doing this ad. I'm actually wondering if it just hanged in the background. Like this is longer than I
check that.
Yeah. I don't see anything coming up.
The debug.
Yeah, no debug. Yeah, I have access to this. Nobody else does. Give it a second, but you know what? I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna reload. Probably gonna.
This is very dangerous what you're doing. Okay.
I know. I don't know if I should be doing that, but I'll do it anyways.
Okay. What's the worst that can happen?
Okay, stuff is coming up. Right. So like the last step right now is, I mean, it disappeared, but it's still there. It's kind of like still working on it. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes it happens that the asset appears here before the response appears.
That's true. Yeah, it does happen.
That can happen, but I don't feel like that's.
I mean, that's one of the challenges working with AI, right? So I have a OpenClaw instance, and often he will just randomly go quiet.
You know what? I'm going to do another one because that's supposed to be what it is about. I can just do that.
Yeah. There you go, because we've got the memory saved. So you start a new chat.
Yeah. I can just. I'm going to make sure that the naming, the mentioning is correct, and then I'm going to reattach the picture, and then that should work. you can like be clear. You can run in parallel multiple queries and work. For the purpose of the demo, I was not really planning to do too much of that, but you can, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
See the little guy running, doing his thing.
Yeah, I wish I could open up the other team so I could showcase more of the content that we're working on, but I feel like I'm just going to get disconnected from that one if I do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
So it's fine navigating between tabs and everything, but changing team in the middle might not be recommended.
Yeah. Well, most people will never change teams, right?
No,
That's something we do because we're devs. But if you're working at a company or your solo hustle, like you're only going to have one team.
Correct.
And he's still cooking.
Yeah, no, I think this guy bugged potentially. Like I don't have anything coming out. This guy here is still working. Like that's fine. So I think this is all right. So let's be patient and see what happens.
So I mean, just talking about, I guess, two things. So the point of today wasn't really specific about Liquid Death, right? It was about whether you could take a very opinionated, difficult, very intricate aesthetic like what they have, the kind of aesthetic that takes years to build, right? And prove whether that can actually be learned and replicated by AI without you having to explain every detail every single time.
Yeah.
Which is what happens when you use like a generic image tool, right? You get what we call the prompt lottery and you're pressing the button, you're hoping to get what you want. And so I think that this will load in a second, but I think we've kind of demonstrated that you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
SecretSauce will achieve that kind of every time. What else do we want to flag for today? One thing is curious to ask the audience. So Ben, you want to make this full screen? I'll point to something.
I can't.
Oh, you can't. Okay.
Yes, you can.
So yeah, you see the little flask at the top left of the screen? That's our logo. It's a little saucy guy. Help us with names for this guy. This guy does not have a name, and I think like all good mascots, he needs a name. So please feel free to suggest them in the comments or DM us. But that would be super helpful. And I think one of the things we might do next time is if anyone has a brand that they want some free assets for, or they want help with, or you're launching your side hustle, or you're doing your first Shopify store, whatever, then yeah, please share with us. Oh, did it create in the back end?
It's all there. It just didn't show up. I don't know
just do it in the chat. Okay, it's cool.
But actually, it's there. So we have the content
amazing
that lets you look at everything that you've done. And the first one is actually here. So the one that we uploaded,
that's that one.
Right side, like this is the one that was generated. And then we asked again, like, hey, so I did it again. And this time it made this variant here with different products and a different background as well. So what you can notice is that, it's like it kept everything. Actually, this one we will want to
even kept the Amazon.
Of course. I think I mentioned in the prompt that was for my Amazon shop, so it would keep the logo here. The one thing that hasn't been updated, and we would just ask the agent, hey, change the the top title here because this is feels like a coffee. That's the energy drink. That works actually. No, that's fine.
Yeah, it works. That's right.
That's just
fake news, Ben. You are fake news.
Fake news.
Amazing. Look at that. It's nailed all the details. Colors are all right. Fonts.
So that's that. It worked. It just somehow had a little delay with the.
You want to look at the very last one as well?
The very last one, yes.
That was the second one you generated in the new chat.
We had a bonus. Yeah, we had a bonus shot with the 4 of them.
Look at that.
Like all of the products are
perfect score, man.
Yeah, awesome. So you see, even when you think it doesn't work.
On that bombshell, I think we can wrap up. So even when it gives you a head fake and it makes you think that it didn't work, it actually did work. It was just on if you go to the asset library, you'd see everything. So there it was. I would say flawless execution, but The images were flawless, yeah, for sure. And they appeared in the asset library. It just would have been better if they'd appeared in the chat.
Maybe a reminder that we're still in beta, we're still early with the product, and it's only going to get better, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the worst the product will ever be. But yeah, and also just want to thank everyone that tuned in today, because from what I can see, there's 76 viewers so far. So I guess today we'll cross over 100. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, look, guys, it's the first time we've ever live streamed this. This is still in beta. We appreciate your patience, but as you can see, the technology is pretty incredible. So yeah, you can either get access to the best tools for your brand, or you can miss out and be very sad. And we wouldn't want people watching this to feel sad.
All
right. Well, gonna do my little thing. Is this gonna work? Yeah.
Oh, mine too. Yes.
Like
and subscribe.
Yeah, smash that like button, and thank you to everyone that joined in. Joined in today.
They can do little hearts.
All right, I'm gonna do this one because the secret sauce. See if this works. Yes. Say that, you mothers.
Can I do that? Oh yeah, nice. Cheers.